day, everybody. Welcome back to Menopause Barbie. This is an extensive video tutorial series to empower you to manage your menopause your way. Previously, I've given you some general principles in the diet and lifestyle category, and I did that by just sharing with you some dietary pearls followed by some lifestyle pearls. So today, we're ready to embark on some general principles for the other categories of options for managing your menopause your way. We have the alternative and complementary options, and we have the traditional medical options. In this tutorial, we will be covering pages 91 through 95 in the book, and also page 106. And in our outline notes, we will be on pages 19 and 20. Okay, for many women, the first big decision about how to manage their menopause is whether to use alternative and complementary options versus traditional medical options. These are the two big camps. It's like a political controversy. So let's cite some of the basic differences between these two camps. If you were to draw a diagram of these two camps, it would look like this. In the alternative and complementary camp, we have vitamins and minerals, botanicals and herbs, acupuncture, and hypnosis. And in the traditional medicine camp, we have hormonal medications and non-hormonal medications. So let's talk about each of these. Alternative and complementary options include all the things you can use that produce the same or similar effects as hormones or other drugs. So these include all your vitamins, your minerals, your botanicals, your herbs, your acupuncture, and your hypnosis. You've heard the term dietary supplement before, right? Do you know what it means? We use the broad term dietary supplement to include all the vitamins, minerals, botanicals, and herbs, but also some amino acids. So your dietary supplements fall into the alternative and complementary category. What it boils down to when we talk about menopause is that you're going to be considering options that have a hormonal effect, whether or not they're actual hormones or merely a dietary supplement. And since you'll need to know the differences between these things in order to make the right choice for yourself, we're going to talk about those differences. In general, the traditional medical world focuses more on estrogen, and the alternative and complementary world focuses more on progesterone. So what comes to mind when you think of alternative and complementary medicines? Do you think of them as safer? Do you think of them as cheaper? Do you think of them as easier to obtain because you don't need a prescription? And what comes to mind when you think about the traditional medical options? Do you think there are more side effects? Do you think they're more expensive? Do you think that they're less convenient because they do require a prescription? Do you think of alternative and complementary medicines as natural and traditional medical options as synthetic? These are terms that we're going to cover in great detail in an upcoming video. Well, the truth is, the differences between these two categories aren't like that. Actually, you have to utilize many of the very same principles with both of them, regardless of which category you choose. They just aren't as necessarily as separate as you think. You see, dangerous interactions can occur between the two. You can have an herb and a drug that cause dangerous interactions. So when you go to your doctor's office and they ask you to list all your medications, you have to list your botanicals your herbs, your vitamins and minerals, and your amino acids, and your dietary supplements. Also, these need to be included because they can create problems with these. You shouldn't take anything in either category in excessive doses or for an excessive duration. And neither category is better or worse than the other. Now, what about the things that aren't on this table? Many women opt for acupuncture to manage their menopause. Acupuncture involves puncturing the body with needles in specific locations. And the needles are augmented by either low voltage current, sound waves, or laser beams. And what acupuncture does is it manipulates the energy flow throughout your body. And it may improve hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, mood swings, or even anxiety. Here's a picture of what acupuncture looks like. Some women rely on hypnosis to manage their menopause. Now, we don't have much scientific data about using hypnosis for menopause, but we know that it's harmless. You know, you have to remember that no one's opinion matters but your own. So, you know, if hypnosis works for you, who cares how little scientific data there is as long as it's harmless? So, as you can see, this camp of alternative and complementary medicine is quite vast. Now, in the traditional medical camp, most of the focus is on using actual hormonal medications to replace the deficiencies in our body's natural hormones once we go through menopause. And in addition, there are non-hormonal medications to treat various symptoms of menopause without actually replacing hormones. So what you have is a vast smorgasbord of options. So, how do you choose? How do you know which camp to be in? Well, that is the great thing. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can pick and choose and dabble with items from both categories. You can change your mind. You can flip back and forth from one or the other. You see, this is a shopping cart. You can take your shopping cart and throw all kinds of things in it from both categories. You can just chuck all kinds of things in here from both sides. You don't have to be a follower of one camp or the other. Isn't that great? See, with all these options, you can see that there are many different kinds of services and products that you can use for managing your menopause. And of course, with every kind of service or option, there's going to be a professional to help you meet your goals. You see, my goal is to help you find the right professionals to help you do things your way. You don't have to rely only on your gynecologist or your internist. And you don't have to confine yourself to a single category or a single caregiver. You also have to remember that this is not a do-it-yourself guide. This is educational material to empower you to make decisions and to help make choices that are right for you, but it's not a do-it-yourself guide. So, look at this huge list of professionals who are available to help you. In the traditional medical category, you have MDs, like me, medical doctors. You have DOs, those are doctors of osteopathic medicine. And you have your pharmacists and your psychologists. In the alternative and complementary medicine category, you have naturopathic doctors, or NDs. You also have your herbalists, your botanists, your acupuncturists, and your hypnotists. And then you have professionals that span both categories. These would be the DOs, the doctors of osteopathic medicine, your dietitians, your nutritionists, your fitness specialists. You see, all of these professionals can help you. Almost all of them can help you with your diet and lifestyle issues. Or you may not even need a professional for that. You may just need a lot of willpower. Surprise! After attending these tutorials, you may find that you actually know more than a lot of the professionals you go to. That's a good thing though, because when you're educated, you can make all the difference in the world in making good decisions and working with professionals. Now, in the traditional medical category, all doctors don't have the same degree of expertise with menopause. So the general order of expertise is going to be, first, your gynecologist who specializes in menopause. Second, a general gynecologist. Third, an obstetrician gynecologist who does both things. Fourth would be your general internal medicine doctor, and your fifth would be a family practitioner. And then the professionals with varying levels of expertise, mostly depending on their level of interest, would be your osteopaths, your naturopaths, the herbalists, the botanists, fitness trainers, dietitians, and nutritionists. So you might lean one way or the other when it comes to these two big camps of alternative and complementary versus traditional medicine. Maybe you prefer traditional medical options because of the uniformity and the predictability of the products. Or maybe you like the fact that you can use a single medication to alleviate all of your menopause symptoms. Or maybe you view pharmaceutical products as a means of treating menopause like a disease, rather than as a natural process of aging. Or perhaps you're just dissatisfied with traditional medicine. Maybe you find alternative and complementary medicine more empowering because the products are available over the counter without a prescription. And maybe alternative and complementary medicine is more compatible with your personal or ethical or financial values. But let me give you a typical profile of users of alternative and complementary medicine. They usually have a higher education level, a poorer health status, a general holistic orientation to health, and several chronic health conditions. And commonly, they've had some kind of transformational experience that has changed their views about health care. Sometimes they've had a negative experience with the traditional medical community. But alternative and complementary medicine has actually become kind of mainstream. It now represents the majority in terms of popularity and economic size. Proponents of botanical and herbal medicine argue that because the cost of bringing a new drug to market is millions of dollars, that manufacturers have little interest in plant byproducts because they can't patent them. And they believe that safe and effective plant regimens are ignored because they can make more money with the drugs, and they believe that the public is subjected to more toxic and potent synthetic drugs. But only a minority of consumers reject traditional medicine completely. Most consumers combine both categories. Most people use things from both sides. On the other hand, maybe you prefer traditional medical therapies because they're more scientifically proven. And no matter what you think you prefer right now, you may feel very differently after learning more by tuning in to these tutorials. You see, I don't like to use words like good versus bad, or right versus wrong, or better versus worse. I just think that there are just different degrees of preference. I think that you need to personalize all of your opinions about menopause. And the best way to do that is every single time you say anything about menopause, add the two words "for me" to the end of your sentence. Because what that will do is it will avoid words of judgment that don't serve other women well. In other words, if you say, estrogen is great for me, you make it clear that it's your personal situation, and it's not the same thing as saying estrogen is great for everybody. As I promised, I'm completely unbiased. So I'm going to be giving you all the facts about options in all of these categories. And what I'm going to do is help you find the professionals to assist you with all of the different products. So now you're ready to learn about the specifics of the differences between these two cramps, some very specific differences. And that's what we'll do in the next tutorial. So until then, I'll tell you goodbye and I'll meet you again in a week. Bye!